Hey everyone, today we're going to take a look at Laughing Brook in Hamden, Massachusetts. I was here during the winter to show their abandoned boardwalk, but I'm going to show you a little bit more today. Years ago, this entire place right here was a giant turnaround circle meant for school buses. There was a giant building right here. More than 20 years ago, a firefighter burned it to the ground for no reason, and they never rebuilt it since it would have cost millions. The inside was a bunch of classrooms. Students would come here, learn about nature. A big pond that was right behind the building still exists. A few other smaller buildings throughout the woods existed up until 2012 when they removed them for safety reasons. Here's some pictures of them, and let's go look. Here we are. It's no longer a turnaround circle, and there's no remnants of the buildings at all, except for a few pieces of foundation. To the trails, beware of poison ivy. Poison ivy does not affect me. I'm lucky. I'm one of the people who's not allergic to that. Here we are on the map. We're right here. We're going to take a look at this pond right here. The abandoned boardwalk is right here along the pond. This bridge is still here. What this doesn't show is there's a few more bridges. These buildings are right here. That big, massive building used to be here. And you see it's a pretty big place. It would take about an hour or two to get to the other end of the wildlife sanctuary. And that's why animals aren't allowed here, because it's a wildlife sanctuary. 356 acres. Someone filled this with sticks. There's supposed to be brochures in there to tell you about the place. As you can see, they still keep these trails open, but we're out looking for the abandoned ones. Look at that, a tiny baby bunny. As you walk around this place, you'll see a bunch of these numbers. Those were the teaching stations back when they used to bring classes out here. 2-minute walk from the parking lot. You have a little deck here to look out at the pond. This is the little man-made pond here. Somebody left their sunglasses out here. And it is really low. The water is usually way up here. That building would have sat right here, the back of that big building. You walk right out to the back and have the pond. It used to be a place where this pond, they'd actually have the kids come out here with nets to see what they could catch. They would explain what all the creatures are in the water. Stuff like dragonfly larvae, frogs, tadpoles, and then afterwards they would release it. You see the little delta there? It's being supplied by a little bit of water, but they have it designed so most of the river bypasses around it. Over there we have a drain we'll go look at. That drain is built correctly. This is a beaver pond, but they installed a drain that beavers won't mess with. See the beaver right there in the middle of the pond? That's the boardwalk over there. They have bolted all these things shut. You used to be able to open these a few years ago when I was out here. The other buildings used to have them too. Some animals been teething on this. This is one of the teaching stations. These boxes used to be filled with things, equipment, and nets. And we come upon the only bridge that they're still keeping intact. There were about 3 more of these bridges, which have since washed out. We have not had any rain in about 7 weeks. And this is what the stream looks like. I do not even need boots to get out there. You come out here on a normal year, you gotta walk on these rocks because it's just a big mud hole. But not now. Up here, you'll come up to another one of those decks with the roof at the top of this hill. And here we are. Still looks pretty good for 20 years being out here. They do still maintain these very well. Teaching station, a gift of Milton Bradley Company. That's a game company in East Longmeadow. My father used to work there about 20 years ago. He used to bring home a bunch of board games when I was little. Right here, there's an abandoned staircase going down to nothing, a cliff, because it washed out. Years ago, the staircase would have gone down there to a bridge and crossed. But the river got high and washed everything out. You can see someday this platform I'm on might not be here, because every time I come here, this cliff is even closer. The water is almost dried up. Hasn't rained in a very long time. Did not even have to bring my boots out here. I'm just gonna walk out there with sneakers. Let's go. Going down the abandoned steps. Gotta duck my head, overgrown. There's a big pile of sticks here, probably put by the park rangers, so people don't walk off the cliff. But you can see, obviously a lot of people do go around it. But the place we're going is completely grown in, nobody goes near it. And look down here. Just a tiny little trickle. If you saw my video of this place from the winter, that was going pretty good. Looks like a good place where you'd find snakes in the grass. Oh wow, can't even walk in there. So overgrown. There's the platform. There's the landslide. The steps would have come down. A trail coming to right here. You can see this old bridge supports. There would have been 2 beams going across over to there. Probably 2 I-beams with a wood platform just like the bridge we just walked over. And the boardwalk is right up in here. We'll go take a look at that in a second. There's one more bridge down here I want to show. Very convenient for me. The river's dried up, so I'm basically using the river as a trail, so I don't have to go through this overgrown. A lot of prickers in there. It's a pretty good year. There are barely any ticks around. Standing right beneath where the landslides, you can see some of that dirt's really fresh. So it's continuing to do that. Every time the water goes up, it digs away more. But here you can see the steps. That got kind of dangerous. That's why they put a bunch of sticks there to try to deter people from coming down here. Water's very low. Walking right up here to show you another support. Because this was like a whole bunch of boardwalks, little bridges to walk across back when this place was a wildlife teaching station. They also had a bunch of animals here in cages for people to look at. schools and the public. Here's the other bridge support. There would have been another bridge right here. You walk up the stream another 100 feet. It's the active bridge I went across. Here we are below the working bridge that they still maintain. They have this dam right here of rocks. This is the water supplying the beaver pond, and they have the rest of it bypassing it. And it looks like the beavers are actually putting stuff against it. The beavers aren't smart enough to understand this is what's supplying their pond. If they block it off completely, they won't get any water. Before they built this rock wall, you see this piece of metal, and they have concrete on each side of it. This is a tiny little, I guess, dam that was used to regulate how much water would enter the beaver pond, because it's a man-made pond that they built just for the beavers. It's a good example of how high the water can get to be able to throw all these logs up here. All right, it is so overgrown. This is the water coming out of the drain in the beaver pond. I'm just gonna walk right through the plants to get to it. It's really humid out. Okay, you can start to see the platform. There's some water just going under it. But this used to be a boardwalk, so you could walk around the pond. The reason they didn't keep it open, I'm clueless to why they didn't leave this beautiful boardwalk open after it was donated to them by a local company. Oh, but once you get on it, it's decent enough to walk on. Despite the thing being covered in plants, if you scoot to the side like this, it's not rotted. It's like super pressure treated. Hey, I could have got up here pretty easy right here. Just had to climb up a little hill. Okay, let's walk down it. The winter time you could see all the way down it, but now I gotta plow through some plants. This is so overgrown. Right here we have a bridge where that water draining from the pond is coming out of. And the water is so low, it's not even coming out of this pipe. Because if you remember me in the winter time, and look at that, we got a spider right there in that yellow slime. So if the water level was to go up like another 3 inches, this pipe would start to trickle and the drain would start to work. But you see right here, what is this? Are these pieces of wood? Yep, those are all pieces of wood that can be removed to drain the pond if they ever needed to do maintenance on the dam. Dam looks like it's in pretty good shape, and if they wanted, they could even add another piece. Looks like they did a good job here installing this pipe. It only will operate when the water is too high. Got the little channel here. It's a little broken on the end because when the water level went up, and you can see the water trickling underneath the bridge, that's not supposed to happen. That means this dam is leaking somewhere. But I'm sure if it broke, the beavers would be sure to fix it. They probably are the reason it's still standing wherever it's broken down the line. Come down here a little bit to this part of the boardwalk. You can see there's a lot of water here leaking, even more than it's coming out by the dam. It looks like there's a leaking part of it down there. I gotta tell you, this trail must be beautiful in the fall, the autumn, because what we have all around us are called fire bushes. These bushes here, with this kind of bark, they turn bright red for about a week as soon as the first frost hits them. Everyone, look at that. Look at that. One of the beavers has come to see us in this stagnant water. Whoop. Beaver just went under. All right. Here we got the drain. Now that one's designed perfectly. Unlike the new lake drain that they gotta unclog every week. If they would have sent the pipe out like this one 20 feet and put in a design like this, it would have worked. Fish and Game really knew what they were doing when this was installed. That water was coming out of there fast, but now it's been so dry, you just have a little bit of trickling. But anyways, they built this thing so the beavers don't clog it. You see that big screen out there? When this thing works, it flows into it really smoothly like a bowl. And there's no friction, so there's no noise of rapids. If the beavers don't hear the noise of rapids, they'll leave it alone. They just don't like the sound of running water. Too bad you can't see it working today. But you see it goes down into this little channel here. Underneath. Down there and right into the river. In the wintertime, I plowed my way through here, and I think we're gonna do it again. I'm gonna come right out where I said at the parking lot this would be the trail. It was overgrown, but since I'm already in this stuff, I'm not seeing any ticks. It's been so dry out, the ticks just don't like that. It's a bad year for them. What does this say? Teaching station, a gift of Southworth Company. So the Southworth Company paid for this like 50-foot boardwalk. These are also some pretty nice flowers out here. I wonder if they planted these bushes. I know these big maple trees here were planted by Laughing Brook when their building used to be here. Because you see, we got this boardwalk, and that big building would have been right here next to that pond. I hope this video was interesting to everybody. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna plow my way right through these bushes back into the parking lot and give myself a check for ticks. It's so dry out that mosquitoes, ticks, they don't have all the stagnant pools of water they would ordinarily have to thrive. There's barely any bugs this season because we're going on almost 2 months now without any rain. We'll have 1/10 of an inch here and there, but that's not even enough to wet the ground. In most cases, that actually hurts the environment because it's like people who water their grass in the sun. You're adding water to it, but because the sun's hitting it, it evaporates so fast when you're done watering, it takes away more water than it originally had. So it's not beneficial by any means.